Well, this team
Just
are supposed to be serial killers, at least by their name, the Raiders, but they couldn't beat their way out of a wet paper sack.
Max Crosby can do cool stuff.
The Chiefs head into Vegas in Allegiant Stadium and take on the Raiders for the first time this season. The sports books have them at 8.5 point dogs at home as of Tuesday.
That's a lot of points for the Chiefs and their wide receivers right now.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the way the Raiders have been playing as of late. They've been playing a lot better with Antonio Pierce as their head coach. It seems that they've turned that culture around at least, and the players have a little bit more fight and will in them as of late. But we also knew that was mainly because of Josh McDaniels and his horrible coaching tendencies.
Yeah, they are actually looking like a semi-competent team over there with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, and
All the differences is a coach.
well, that and they also benched slash got Jimmy G hurt enough that Aiden O'Connell, the rookie, is now their starting quarterback. And he doesn't look like fully competent, but I don't know if he's necessarily had enough time to really showcase what it is that he can do.
I will say he does not look like Desmond Ritter or Bryce Young, so that's positive.
That is very true.
He's nothing more than mid, guys. Let's not. Aiden O'Connell. Look, I don't think the spread should be as high as it is, but the Raiders are not on the caliber that the Eagles are. Um, I would probably cut the spread in half. I would
Well,
say.
neither were the Broncos, but
Okay. I'm gonna continue on. Um, it's a hell of a week to have a bounce back week. Lose a tough game against the Eagles. Um, guys, let's get some shit right going against the Raiders.
what do you think goes into this week of practice towards our expectations for the game coming from the Chiefs side and the Raiders side?
To me, you asking
Whoever.
me?
Sure.
Nods his head, Sean. Okay. Um, I I'm gonna just come out and say it, Ty Bob. The guy who says that the Chiefs have shown no indication that this problem will change. Expect the drops to get cleaned up, fellas. We're gonna be catching some balls in Vegas. It's not gonna be raining. I hope.
In
It's
the dome? Yeah, no.
it's in a dome. Okay, well we're gonna be catching shit in a dome.
It's a fine.
I don't care. I don't care what kind of stadium they have in Vegas.
This guy. It's Arrowhead
We're gonna
West.
be
You should
we're
know.
gonna be making catches. Does it stay Arrowhead West? We lost the streak against the Broncos. Does Allegiant stay Arrowhead?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Kind of. I expect us to catch the balls in Las Vegas.
All the balls.
All the balls.
All the balls.
Hey, Dex. Shut up.
Yeah,
He's so
go ahead.
cute when he's quiet.
It's not often.
I can go ahead and expect the Raiders to play like this is their Super Bowl. Big matchup for them. They're going to get behind head coach Antonio Pierce, and they're going to try to really get after the Chiefs on defense. But I'm fully expecting the Chiefs defense to completely annihilate the Raiders offense. Without a question.
You got fine because most of that shit was already said or quarterback speak. So
I think you're just saying everything I say now is quarterback speak. Every
You
damn
need
thing.
more fines.
yeah, he does. So we're fighting you. That was bullshit.
What not to expect? The receivers to catch balls for Rasheed Rice to get more than
Oh,
55%, 57% of the snaps, for us to continue the same way that it's been fucking going, there's not going to be a change. Listen, there hasn't been so far. There's not going to be. But that doesn't mean we can't win. We've shown that we can win. I expect the defense to bail us out like they have been every single week. I expect to see a couple of turnovers from Patrick Mahomes and company. And you know what? I also expect Andy Reid to continue the running game. And that's one of the reasons why we will, like, I expect us to win. That's one of the reasons why I expect us to win is Andy Reid is finally going to get away from realizing that we can't win with these receivers making plays. So why not get the ball in the hands of one of the guys who actually tries every single time he steps out on the field? And Pacheco's going to have himself a day over the century mark and a pair of tuds.
Call it now. How much?
Over the century mark and a pair of tuds.
That's it? Not even like getting close to the number?
123 yards, 2 tuds.
1, 2, 3. Good guess.
123 total yards between receiving and rushing.
You know, the playmakers on the Raiders, i.e., Max Crosby, he's gonna make some plays. He's gonna get 1, possibly 2 sacks against Pat Mahomes, but it's not gonna be enough to kill our offense as a whole. I think our offense finds the end zone enough times, and our defense makes plenty of plays for us to win this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little afraid of Max Crosby. I will say that our tackles, Donovan Smith and Dewan Taylor, have really calmed my nerves a lot in their abilities since the beginning of the season. Obviously, there's still going to be the penalties, but they've shown their worth in what they're able to do. Um,
They don't quite have elite level protection. The best guys do get them.
Definitely.
But they're good starting caliber offensive tackles.
And I know the left tackle will get cleaned up this offseason. I'm not too worried about that. Donovan is definitely a short-term fix for this year, and he services his job well. Enough to say that I think Max Crosby will be kept at bay for most of the day. I think he's going to cause a little bit of pressure, maybe a quarterback hit here or there. I don't think he actually gets a sack this week. I think we're going to scheme to him quite a bit.
Hard to stop him. I think he gets at least 1.
At least 1
Ron,
sack, maybe 2 tackles for loss. Is that quarterback talk for you?
No, you're adding on to our conversation. That's fine.
For once.
Stuff that wasn't had been said already. Right. Sean, you got any players to watch?
Some players to watch. Oh boy, do I. Big player to watch here. Love watching him lately. Mike Edwards. I'm expecting a big thing from him this week. He did not have a turnover-worthy play last game. Was a part of any turnover-worthy plays. What?
I'm not talking about last week. Up a touchdown.
I'm not talking about last week. I'm talking about this next week. All right. I'm looking forward to him this next week. Right. He's not going to give up a touchdown. He's going to cause a turnover, at least 1, maybe 2, if we're lucky.
Geese. That's it? That's your only player to watch?
You want me to go on offense too, or you want me to like? I was letting you take over defense right there.
We'll get back to you. You're annoying. Ty Bob, you got your players to watch?
Yeah.
Notice there was a plural S at the end of players.
Offense, I already said
clearly.
Shut up.
A little bit louder in the mic, but I already said Isaiah Pacheco, so I don't think I need to go on to that too much more. On the defensive side, a guy that I didn't give enough credit to in the beginning of his career that I have been backtracking on, and rightfully so. Watch George Karlaftis. He did have a pretty solid game against the Eagles. He was in on a lot of plays, high motor guy. I expect him to have himself one of the best days of his career so far in week 12 against the Raiders. He's going to get himself a pair of sacks. He's going to get himself 3 TFLs. And he's going to get a batted pass.
I'm going to add on the defensive side of the ball, guys. our best side of football on the Chiefs right now is on defense. So no wonder we have a lot of players to watch on the defensive side of the ball. Um, but it's an important one. Uh, we're gonna keep an eye on L'Jarius Sneed because he's probably going to be shadowing Devontae Adams.
Yep.
That's gonna be a big matchup for our defense. If that gets shut down, the Raiders don't have a whole lot of other options. That's gonna be big. Um, just in the overall tipping the scales of this game.
And I'd expect this Raiders offense to be completely and utterly overwhelmed for the most part. There's one guy that we should probably watch. We won't want to watch that it's going to happen. A guy who hasn't done anything this season so far, Hunter Renfro. We tend to allow guys that we know are going to go off on us continue to go off on us. And a guy in Hunter Renfro who doesn't get many snaps this year, who hasn't been a viable option for the Raiders, is going to somehow end up working his way onto the field and end up torching us. And that's going to be okay because for the most part, their offense is going to be completely overwhelmed. Aiden O'Connell isn't going to know what to do when he's got an entire defensive line in his face for the majority of the game.
Blanks on every Chiefs defensive lineman's name.
No, I was gonna say a gang of dudes in his face, but I thought
nice.
you guys would end up taking that a different way. So I said every
gang
defensive
of dudes gang banging Aiden O'Connell
in his face.
That's why I didn't say.
That's the show title.
Oh my god.
And I guess it stands to say that we should probably watch Devontae Adams opposite the matchup of L'Jarius Sneed, because if he's cooking us like he has, I guess we won't call it a full cooking because he didn't get the dub, but the time he shoved the cameraman or whatever went off in that game.
Yeah,
but doesn't usually come out with a W. Yeah, obviously shut down their weapons, guys. That's basic football. It's Bill Belichick-esque. Come on, Andy. You've been around long enough.
I don't really have real concerns about this Raiders team. I mean, obviously they're in a much better spot than they were just a few weeks ago. Now that Antonio Pierce is their coach, they definitely have some like renewed vigor. But as far as like what I've seen, the product on the field that comes from the Raiders, it's not anything that's worrisome. I don't have a lot that we should necessarily look out for. Um, they're just not that good of a team, even though our offense has proven not to be that good of an offense this year. There's just still not a whole lot that I'm truly worried about when it comes to this Las Vegas Raiders team.
They're hovering around 500, aren't they? They're a game under.
I mean they're hovering around it. They're third in the AFC West. I think a game behind the Denver Broncos, who are 2 games behind the Chiefs. And could make the playoffs.
I don't know, man. The AFC is tough. AFC is very tough.
Thanks for that help, Sean.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Bravo, give me.
But that's a fine. What were you gonna say?
Give me your keys of the game so that we can go to Sean and hopefully we get more quarterback speak.
I'm redundant. We want at least. I would love to match the amount of carries that he had this past week. If we can match 19 carries for Isaiah Pacheco, and stay consistently running the ball even into the second half, maybe he cracks 20 carries, guys. Maybe he does crack the century mark because we give the ball to a running back like people did in the early 2000s. The game is cyclical. Shake it up. Everybody's focused on the pass. Run the damn ball. Come on. Like, we literally have the angriest runner and one of the best run lines in the entire league. It's angry. It's anger inducing to the fans, Chiefs. I realize that we have one of the best arms in league's history, but
when you drop back 45 times and nobody's catching the ball, do something else.
So run it.
Throw a bubble screen. Maybe they'll catch that one. Probably not.
My key to the game right here is win the turnover battle. Not going in depth. I'll repeat myself way too much right there for you guys.
All right. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's something that we do need to do.
We're probably going to win this game.
Time of possession. I'm going to say that we need to control, and not by like a small piece. Like we need to double the time of possession versus the Raiders' time of possession in this game. Like we've seen it time and time again. We're not going to score in the second half. We're going to get shut out by a bad Raiders defense. It's whatever at this point. It's happened 3 games in a row. Let's make it 4. Let's keep the streak going. So to counteract that, let's run the damn ball in the second half. Let's go up a bunch in the first half. Let's run the ball. Let's keep possession so that our defense can be refreshed when they actually have to stand on their head to defend the game at the last second so that they have some air in their lungs. Let's go ahead and just do that. If we can keep time of possession, no matter what happens, the Kansas City Chiefs can win this ball game because we'll be up so far ahead in the first half. When we score 0 points in the second half, it won't really matter.
It won't matter.
It won't matter. Just keep time possession.
I'm gonna add an offensive key though, because I almost thought you were gonna bring it up, but stick with and stay consistent with the pre-snap motion. As long as our guys aren't gassed, if we're running our offense, and we don't have to worry about like clock and dumb situations like that. Like let's stay with the pre-snap motion and don't abandon it in the second half.
It's not even like we have to worry about the guys being gassed. I think that's a good point when we're talking about receivers, but it wasn't in the last game against the Eagles. It wasn't even receivers who were going in motion. We ran the 13-man personnel. We had 2 tight ends on, and we motioned both Noah Gray and Travis Kelce almost every single play, whether it was across the line or halfway and back. Do that stuff. Don't do the Pacheco side to side, step forward 2 inches bullshit. Just move the guys across the line. That's fine. Make it nice and easy. Use the play clock. Continue with the motion. Figure out whether it's man or zone, and allow
something to help you figure out what the defense is going to
do. Patrick Mahomes is going to know what he's seeing, but a lot of these receivers don't. Travis Kelce knows what he's going to be seeing, but none of the other receivers do. So allow them to see what they're matching up against, whether it's going to be man on man or whether they're going to go in zone. If you got a high top safety who's showing or not, figure it out and then run the play. And that's how we're going to that's exactly what happened. You go back and you look at the film against the Eagles, and the receivers, MVS, Justin Watson, aren't reading the guys who are over the top of them or who are trailing behind, figuring out which option of the route that they need to run. So if you can at least see pre-snap where these guys are going to be, figure out how exactly we need to run the option of the route, then Patrick Mahomes will be able to, there will be a little bit better communication between Patrick and wide receiver. And it's not the communication issue from Patrick. It's the bad communication from the wide receiver who's not being able to see what the defense is giving him.